excellent job, Joshua, in mentioning both laws from the states of Florida and Connecticut. I can imagine how difficult and time consuming that must have taken to do it for both. So great job. While preparing for my video, I came across a few disciplinary actions of sexual misconduct as well. And I also found one regarding to what seemed to me multiple violations with different minors. I was shocked as well that a counselor would do such a thing. But to answer your question, it's a very good question. And this is what I think I would do. I say think because, when you hypothesize, this is what I'm going to do, right? But sometimes when it comes to it, you might not do it, right? So I really hope I would, but this is how I would answer your question. I would take the principle that Jesus gave us of the brother that sinned in Matthew 18:15 through 17. And I think it's a great illustration of how we should proceed with this thing. First, I would talk directly to my fellow counselor, voicing my concern and including the dates and times of when I noticed the impairments or the ethical violations. I can't just say, hey, I think you're violating the laws. I would say, I would keep a log and have substantial evidence before I would even approach him or her. And if they continue, then I would bring another fellow counselor or another person who's there. And if they agree with me that they've seen these violations, then both of us can go to this fellow counselor. And if they still don't change, then I would submit an official letter to my state's disciplinary board. But I don't know if this is wise or not, but I would include, or I would also let my fellow counselor know what I did and said, hey, you're going to expect a letter. I've spoken to you. We've spoken to you and still haven't changed. So I submitted a formal, not petition, but a formal letter. It's also interesting that the American Counseling Association 2014, what they have to say about the colleague is similar to what Jesus did. So firstly, the introduction of Section I of the ACA Code of Ethics 2014 requires counselors to make sure other counselors are upholding the set standards. And if they know someone who is not, they must have open communication among all those who are involved. So even the ACA Code of Ethics says, hey, talk to them directly if it's possible. Furthermore, Section 1.2a says, and I quote, when counselors have reason to believe that another counselor is violating or has violated an ethical standard and substantial harm has not occurred, they attempt to resolve the issue informally with the other counselor if feasible, provided such action does not violate confidentiality rights that may be involved, end quotes. So they have the exact same thing as the Bible. In Demium, Abraham, and Bowie's article, Trainees Looking Through the Lens of Supervisor, Remediation and Gatekeeping Responses to Hypothetical Problems of Professional Competency 2018, that article was, to their knowledge, the first study to view trainee viewpoints of gatekeeping and remediation to hypothetical problems of professional competence. In this study, the supervisees had to put themselves in the position of a supervisor and answer certain hypothetical questions. At the end, they found that the most common strategy was talking or consulting with other counselors. Demium et al. Included findings from Danforth. They included that supervisors preferred intra-supervisory response rather than extra-supervisory response. With intra-supervisory responses, it has been suggested that by talking, supervisors are trying their best to help the supervisee. The findings can also be used to answer your question. I believe that though this deals with a supervisor and supervisee's relationship, it also can answer this question that many times talking at first can help immensely. Once again, I will try my best to help my fellow colleague by first going to them directly, but if they do not listen to the other counselors or to me, then I would submit the official letter. And thank you for posing that great question. It took me really some self-reflection and some researching to answer it, but I hope I answered it well and to your satisfaction. Thank you.